I have been into the whole game of assessment, then at the DIPR, maybe certain researches at the time of TNO. I was very fortunate to be involved in that. And so there is a lot of insight, and then, got into the guiding or coaching, so-called. I don't call it coaching, but I call it more of a guidance or mentorship of the candidates. And so what I'm sure, it's your experience as well as any assessor who has been actively into assessing the candidates SSB. I very strongly feel that, the insight that we have of the candidates when they're performing at the SSB, that is something we have our, that finger on the pulse. Now, having known that, how best we can, guide these or mentor these candidates. So, first of all, it is about the kind of the stage in which you are today, the present generation, which is very, very savvy as far as the social media net is concerned, that information wise, they're this thing. At the same time, the flip side is that attention span is very less. And they are, I call it menu driven generation. You tell them, okay, that KBC kind of a question, what's the name of your father, sir? Please give me choices. Right? So that is the kind of, mindset wo ban gaya, because every kind of coaching or this thing we have preparation for, IIT, GE, then your NEET exams, or even now you have the CUET for the Delhi, central universities. Is the same, is that कि आपने इतने questions आपको करने हैं, ये है, and they're all, I think, that multiple choice type questions. So with that, what is happening is, I feel that the candidate is already predetermined about, ये आएगा ऐसा करूंगा, ये आएगा ऐसा करूंगा, ये आएगा ऐसा करूंगा. Now, this is something which becomes a hindrance to open thinking. And that is what we want a candidate to have. So I would just request you to, highlight your observations, particularly with regard to the, candidates who have been preparing for IIT, NEET, etc. Because I think it is more than 12 lakhs candidates or something, who have appeared for the JEE exam and all. And there's a very huge number. And these, now we have this entries like TES, 10+2, Navy Tech. Air Force has also started within the NDA, of course, taking this technical, guys who can go into the technical branch or ground duties, non-technical branches also. Though that is slightly, of course, the process is through UPSC. But as far as those who have been preparing for this G and NEET exam, now these are the ones who actually, come up, and they have I feel a very, a mindset जहाँ पे उनके blinkers are on all the time, वो लगे हुए हैं, और PCM के अलावा कुछ आता नहीं है. मतलब they are not allowed to think. I've been to institutions, to colleges or schools where they're preparing these candidates for, this GE exams, etc. And there I found that they are not even allowed to go and play volleyball, leave aside, other tiring games, football or some other games after 8th class. So for next 4 years, they're into it. Or, the other side is, going to quota or things, similar kind of institutes where it is, the regimen is only, morning to evening. This, unfortunately, we have seen these so many, suicidal cases, 22 plus now at quota, and which have been as a result of, too much of stress building up, because their only focus is on this and not, looking outside the academics. Your observation on these kind of candidates, since you assess them, you have been guiding them. So what is your assessment or observation? And How do you think this can be addressed? Because I think it's a very serious issue which needs to be addressed. These are it's a pool of candidates which is intellectually sound. Only thing they need to be perhaps tweaked a bit. Like unka jo ek habit, they become habituated of a particular way of doing things or learning things. So if that can change, so what are your views?
See, what I feel, sir, that one point that must be absolutely clear to the candidates who are aspiring for the defense, not to look at it as a 9 to 5 job. It is not a job that you're seeking. You have to have that passion. You have to have that desire to do well and enjoy the life. The type of work and life balance that the army provides or the defense forces provide for that matter is unmatchable. Now, what happens is, yes, I know the constraint, the peer pressure, the social, the parental pressure to perform well in 10th, 11th, and 12th is so much that there are, candidate goes to the school, then he goes to the tuitions, and right from that time, 11th onwards, he starts preparing for IIT. With the result, what happens? Rather than becoming a multifaceted personality, rather than being a balanced personality, you are more into academics. Academics is important. There's no doubt about it. But if it is almost only the academics, then maybe the people like Dr. APJ Kalam, late Dr. APJ Kalam, he would have been the first person to get into the armed forces. The fact that he did not get is an indicator that we are not looking only at the academics. Now, one must understand that first is not getting an opportunity to play. I know these days, the schools, colleges, they are just so constructed that they, as you go up in your standards, you only go up in your level. That means you're on the first floor in first standard, you're on the second floor on the second standard, and you keep going up as you go up the classes. So there's hardly any place to play. If you don't play any games, if one doesn't take part in the extracurricular activities, debates, extempore, and all, how does the personality develop? Because as an army officer, mind is important. There's no doubt. But we are looking for people who are balanced, who have the ability to understand these normal day-to-day situations, and they are able to provide solutions to it utilizing the resources that are available. So for that, you need to be actually the presence of mind is what is of great craft. Yes, to clear your written exam, one has to be good at mathematics if you have to clear your NDA written exam. And as I understand, the exams have become that much difficult now. Because in our times, yes, I was one of those lucky types who did one first test in which I cleared NDA written, wherein the subjective type of answers were given. And the next, because sir, as you know, in the science school, once you clear your NDA, SSB and all, the next NDA written already comes before the merit is out or before the results of the SSB merit are out. So I had to come for the second one also. And that was the one which was on objective basis. So on the first day of the paper, I got my results I was clear. So everybody told, all my batchmates said, you're already through. You can rest and relax. I said, you all are sitting here for the exam. Let me also give the exam. So I'm telling you out of my personal experience at that point of time, sir. I will be truthful. There were plenty of questions. Because you have multiple choice now. It is difficult to make. But what I did all the questions that I knew correctly. Thereafter, I did not leave any blanks. I kept guessing. And like they say, if your guess is actually an intelligent guess, 90% of the time is as good as correct. And it so happened that I cleared the second attempt also. So that brings me to the point that knowledge is important, but also relies and understand using the knowledge in a practical way. Don't be just focused, because SSB is somewhat, I'll say it like an ocean. One cannot say, ye padh lo to pass ho jaoge, ya ye kar lo to pass ho jaoge. How will it unfold? Because there are 3 assessors who are looking at you in 3 different ways. So all that you can really prepare for is something like maybe OIR test, Officers Intelligence Rating Test one can prepare for. One can prepare for maybe things like writing a blank story or understanding what my parents think about me, what my teachers think about me, what my friends think about me. If you can really analyze all those things, that can help. So it is not only the book knowledge that will help you, it is understanding yourself. अपने आप को जब तक नहीं समझेंगे sir, I think the
Absolutely.
performance in the SSB cannot really be there. So it is good. I've seen a lot of candidates who come, who are already doing their, they've cleared, done well in their IT. I think these days the input coming is also quite good. But unless a person is multifaceted, he is taking part, because that team spirit, that ability to lose and yet rise again comes from playing games. Because you win some, you lose some, and that is what the sports teach you. So if you are multifaceted, if you are able to exercise your brains in other fields other than your studies, it helps you. But some of them are constrained because of the lack of facilities. That is why when they fill up the PIQ form, we see if they have not played any game, we do explore, but why haven't they played game? Is it because the lack of opportunity, or is it lack of interest?
Absolutely.
Lack of opportunity may be made up, but lack of interest cannot be made up. If a person is only academically oriented, I'm afraid, then the defense forces are not the cup of tea for him. And I'm sure he doesn't want to be at a place, everybody wants to wear a right size shoes, and you don't want to be wearing a wrong size shoe. So you have to understand your own desire. If you're passionate, if you're really thinking of it, by the way you speak, by the way you answer, by the way you tackle situation, it becomes that you have that passion. We are not looking for perfect candidates. A lot of candidates go with that view, yaar, mera sare answer correct hone chahiye. We are not interested in what you are not knowing. We are interested in what you know. Now, if you know the Pythagoras theorem, if you know your geometry, your trigonometry well, and if I ask you how to measure the height of Qutub Minar, how if a candidate cannot utilize his own knowledge of class 10th or 12th in measuring the height, then I'm afraid he is not applying his knowledge in the practical way. So SSB is all more about the practical knowledge than the basic knowledge which helps you score in the schools and college exams and all. So it is, as I said, it is quite a different type of testing procedure. Herein, you don't have any syllabus laid down. I'm also saying there's nothing called a right answer. It is through the answer that you gave, the quality of answer that you gave, the way you give that answer, way you tackle your situation, it helps an assessor to assess that those 15 officer-like qualities. And I've also seen this, that a lot of candidates who come for the SSB, they think there is a misnomer going also that your coaching, doesn't help you. Now, if you understand what does the coaching aim, then I'm sure you will be able to, if you understand the nuances of the testing procedure, coaching will help you. Coaching can help you see yourself. It can help you develop your communication skills. Unfortunately, what happens, a lot of people are unable to express themselves in English. Now, English is a language, and unless you speak, I cannot really make out what is going on in your mind. So speaking is important. But it is not only the English which will matter, it is your thought, quality of your thoughts. That can be expressed in the mix of English and Hindi. That will also help, because a large number of candidates are only focused somewhere. And so because of the inability to express yourself in English, it affects your self-confidence, which is a greater quality. So people start developing that inferiority complex. यार मैं तो अंग्रेजी में बोल नहीं पाता हूँ, वो लड़का इतना अच्छा अंग्रेजी बोल रहा है. But you will be surprised, it is not अच्छी अंग्रेजी that we are looking for. We are looking for the quality of your mind. We are looking at the how you exercise your mind, how you utilize your mind to provide solutions to day-to-day problems. So that myth that you should be very good in English, I think is misnomer. It is a misplaced doubt. Lot of boys who come from these convent educated schools and all, they don't make it, because Absolutely. We are not looking at their English. We are looking at the inner, what is inside this mind. That is what is important. So your body language also has a lot of importance, because if you are confident, your body language is more confident, the way you tackle the question. That is all what happens. So it is good. While others are looking for your technical knowledge, we also look at, because technical knowledge adds to your personality. We look, but that is a very minuscule part of your wholesome personality. So you should be good in your studies, definitely. But it is not only the studies, by taking part in other activities, I'm sure one will be able to do well. So we look for people who are good in overall good, who are doing well in all the other fields also, other than their academics also. So that is what I wanted to emphasize, and that is what I tell my candidates also. You can't do much. A lot of candidates also have this feeling that if they have not done well in their 10th or 12th, will it have an impact?
Yes.
It will have an impact. Definitely it will have an impact. As a student of class 10th, 11th, 12th, what is my dharma? My first dharma is to do my studies well. So if I am a conscientious worker, if I am a person who is dedicated, who is good student, it is an indicator that I'll do whatever is given to me with a lot of responsibility, because I've done my responsibility of reading and studying well while I was required to do that. That is only indicator. But there are times when, because you are preparing for JEE mains, the way the syllabus there and class 12, your exam, your percentage go down. So are you a person who's able to really analyze his past and understand the decisions that were taken, the reason for taking those decisions, and what are the implications of this? If you can analyze yourself this, I'm sure you have already opened up a gate for you to succeed. You have made a failure or a low performance a stepping stone, and sooner than later you will really succeed. So we are looking for those sort of people who are able to look at themselves in a very discreet manner, and are able to analyze and understand their own personality.
The size of the batch, it makes so much of a difference. There are so many coaching institutes where you have 50, 60, 80 candidates, and the assessor doesn't even know their names or faces. वो आते हैं वो थोड़ी देर के लिए, and that's it. And there are certain, I mean, unfortunately, it is assumed commercial angle, more, that is, commercial angle is dominating over the mentoring angle, I would say. So
That's right.
people need to be a little discreet in their choices when they pick up these kind of institutes. Now,
I go a step further, sir.
yeah,
Sorry, interrupting you, sir.
yeah.
Now that you are at this point, there are a lot of institutes that I've seen, sir, who do not have an assessor who has the experience of the SSB. I'm surprised, and even these YouTubes, when you see,
Yes.
so many times when I see these YouTube interviews and the so-called YouTube
Gurus.
I laugh to myself. I said, look at the way the person is trying, and there are boys who get really they think probably that is the fact. But what
Yeah,
happens
because they're
is
popular. They're popular. They're
they're popular.
influencers.
Yeah, they go by the viewership. यार इतनी viewership है इसके पास इतने candidates आते हैं. भाई, if that number is the success, then I'm afraid I don't want to be a successful person. Then
Yes.
Because I would be successful, I would be happy if three of my candidates whom I mentor, they actually understand their own potential. They start developing faith in their own selves. Because unfortunately, what happens is the candidates think that there is some ready-made solution that we'll give them, or we'll give them some magic wand, जो जाएंगे वहां पर और officer like qualities उनकी develop हो जाएंगे. We all understand, sir, it is a long drawn procedure. Overnight, you don't develop officer like qualities. You have to learn to live a good human being. You have to inculcate good habits in your day-to-day life. Everything else will fall in place. There is nothing extraordinary. There is nothing extra preparation that you have to do. All that you must understand yourself, understand your weaknesses. None of us is complete. I've seen candidates try and project themselves like Maryada Purushottam Ram. They are the best specimen on this earth. We are not looking for the best specimen. We are looking for perfect. We are looking for candidates who have that potential. Absolutely. Because our training institute will make use of that potential to make them into a good officer. So we are looking at that potential. So somehow that artificiality and the faith in your own abilities is something which must be taken care of. Like you said, absolutely fine, unless I can make a candidate understand his strengths, his reasons for his shortcomings, and maybe help him overcome them, because he has to make an effort himself. I can only guide him, we can only mentor him, we can only advise him that what all should he do. Because you cannot become, if you've not played games all your life so far, you can't become overnight a good sportsman.
Yeah.
And nor are we looking for a good sportsman. It is just that the qualities that develop when you play games and all. So if you understand the need for that, maybe your attitude will change to the SSB as such. Trying to understand what does he have, not what he does not have. An amount of frequencies. Your wives. If you are a confident person, if you're a knowledgeable person, your wives by themselves start showing, yes, there is something, but bande mein abhi anxiety hai, in a wrong way. And I think as long as the person can realize this point, I think so the message would have gone very clearly.